This is Jake Pazicki with an ACT Science Conflicting Viewpoints question. Now this question is asking us about the reasons that scientists who presented the information about genetic diversity in humans. So we know right away to find this answer we're going to go into the information provided by scientist 2, the perspective provided by scientist 2, and looking for anything about genetic diversity in humans. So we're scanning through, we're reading through, and we see this talking about bacteria and eukaryotes and prokaryotes, different kinds of cells. It's not about humans. And then bingo, paragraph 2. Even if we just looked at human populations, and it's talking about HLA molecule, the HLA molecule. It's not super important that you understand what the HLA molecule is, but it is. And if you just as we're reading around it, though, we can see that it's a molecule that's found in both humans and monkeys, and that some chimpanzee molecules are closer to humans than some human antigens are to each other. It talks about how this diversity is believed to exist for a long time, and goes on to talk about the way that it makes the one ancestor hypothesis impossible, and says that the feasible explanation for genetic diversity is evolution from several ancestors. So we looked in Scientist 2, as we always should whenever we see it specifically mentioning a viewpoint, and then look what it said about humans. Basically, it said that there's differences in HLA molecules and that this supports the one ancestor hypothesis. So if we're looking at the answer choices now, we see A, humans had prokaryotic ancestors. It doesn't say anything in this paragraph about prokaryotic ancestors, and even if you know, it just doesn't say anything about that in relation to humans. So there's no, even if you have thoughts about that from outside knowledge about prokaryotes and any of that stuff, we should put that on the back burner because it doesn't directly address that in this passage. Answer choice B, there was no single humanoid ancestor shared by all living humans. It seems to support that because it says the one ancestor hypothesis is impossible and that the best feasible population explanation is genetic diversity because of evolution from several ancestors. So that seems feasible. We'll leave that on the table. Answer choice C, chimpanzees are more closely related to humans than some humans are to other humans. It did directly say that in the passage, so we'll leave that as an answer choice. And then answer choice D, computer simulations of human populations support the single ancestor hypothesis. We see that's actually exactly the opposite. That's wrong because the computer simulations support or show that the one ancestor hypothesis is impossible. So that one's gone. So now we're between answer choices B and C. And this is sort of tricky, and I'll give you this kind of question on the test where you see that this is directly in the text, and this is the distractor answer because it's right. He says this is the information that he's presented, that chimpanzees are more closely related to humans than some humans are to each other. He directly presents that in the text. What's the question asking us? He's asking about the reason. So scientist who presents the information about genetic diversity in humans to show that, to make a point, to show what. He doesn't present this information just to tell you this information. Scientist 2 is presenting this information to show you that there is no single humanoid ancestor. This is the point. This is the information, and this is the point of that information. And since they're asking us for the reasoning or the point behind this information, the answer choice has to be answer choice B. But it'd be easy to mistakenly go for answer choice C here.